It's really hard to hear the clerk, so I don't know if there's a microphone.
Judy Jones is here.
Councilperson Moss.
Here.
CAC Chair Judy Jones.
Here.
And the Labor Rep Colin Kenton. Here.
Right, so I'm assuming the roll call is done and we have a quorum.
Yes.
I didn't hear, this is Mayor Julia Johnson of Cedar-Woolley. I didn't even hear my name, but I am here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for joining tonight. So item 4 is public comment. If there's anyone in person for public comment, I can't see the room, but if there is, you're welcome to step to the podium. I don't see anyone moving. Okay, and then is there anyone online for public comment today? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move along. Item 5 is our consent agenda action items. It's items A, B, and C, meeting minutes, special meeting minutes, claims, and payroll.
I'll move the adoption of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second that. This is Julia.
Thank you. So motion by Mark and a second by Julia. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Under full discussion and action items, it's item 6A is the approval of the monthly budget update report for May. So I think Chris is online and we'll turn it over to Chris.
Hi, this is Chris Stamey, the Chief Financial Officer. Crystal and I are in Pullman for some WISTUP meetings this week. I have the monthly budget update report for you for May. I'll start with sales tax revenue. We collected $1,466,166 in the month of May. That's $1,323 more than last year at this time. So we're seeing that sales tax is very flat right now. It's just barely above where it was last year. And budgetarily, we are on target as we budgeted very conservatively for sales tax revenue for 2023. Our grant revenue collections for the month of May, state operating total $479,881. Federal operating revenue $214,270. State capital funding $89,416, and federal capital money $76,336. We're expecting more grant money coming in July. Our fair revenue collections for May $67,548. That's almost $11,700 or 21% more than last year at this time. It's just about 2% above our budget projections year to date. So our expenses, our capital expenses for the month of May, we had a bus stop pullout design expense for Marketplace Drive at $5,050. Our Cedar-Woolley Park and Ride project, the power was hooked up. The PSE charge was a little over $2,000. And then we caught a design error and called our A&E firm on it, and they issued us a credit for $5,400. So that's why there's a $3,345 credit there. That was due to the drain and the restroom making it a commercial project and not a residential. Therefore, it needed some changes to the conduit and wiring to put that in perspective. Our MOA2 modular and restroom rentals were $5,484. And we also purchased a lactation pod. It's a Mamava lactation pod, and it's mobile. It's stationed at Skagit Station. And it was $25,032. Brings us into compliance for that. Our ending cash balance at the end of May, $3,643,837. Our reserves are at $21,609,494. Our interest earnings are now growing at a rate that's just over $90,000 a month for that. And our total cash and investments to date at the end of May, $25,253,331. And with that, staff recommends board approval of the monthly budget update report.
All right, thanks, Chris. Any questions from the board? And if you're in the room, I can't really see you, so speak in the microphone.
Motion to approve. Still second.
Okay, sorry, I missed. Was it Peter made a motion to approve?
That is correct, and Councilman Aslett was the second.
Okay, thank you so much. So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, item 6B is the approval entering into an interlocal purchase agreement for security cameras. I'm going to assume Chris is in the room. Chris Chidley is in the room. Oh no, he's
Yeah,
not.
I'm remote today. Good morning, everybody. It is still morning. So the subject for this one is approving an interlocal purchase agreement for security cameras as the primary focus. Skagit Transit staff is recommending that we enter an interlocal purchase agreement with either WLS or WSIPC. At this point, we're narrowing it down to just the WSIPC to obtain services from a vendor recommended by Verkada, a leading manufacturer of security cameras. The objective is to address security and safety concerns within our MOA facilities and provide surveillance coverage for our bus fleet parking area to mitigate potential vandalism risks. The decision to pursue this agreement is driven by the current lack of security measures and camera coverage at our MOA facility. By partnering with Verkada, by partnering with a Verkada recommended vendor and leveraging the interlocal cooperation, we can implement an effective security solution and enhance the overall safety and mitigate financial risks and align with recommendations from the WISTIP insurance pool. Entering an interlocal purchase agreement allows us to combine our purchasing power with other public entities, resulting in a cost savings through collective bargaining. This collaborative approach enables us to negotiate favorable terms with the vendor, ensuring the procurement of higher quality security cameras within our allocated budget. By proactively addressing security concerns, we protect our assets, employees, visitors, and while simultaneously minimizing the financial risks associated with vandalism. At this time, staff is kindly requesting the board's approval and support for this strategic initiative, which will not only enhance the security and safety of our facilities, but also demonstrate our commitment to risk management and compliance with the recommendations set forth by the WISTIP insurance.
All right, any questions for Chris on this?
Madam Mayor or Madam Chair, this
Yes.
is Mayor Julia. I'm curious about any costs. Are there any costs that are going to be incurred to do this?
No,
Here.
oh, sorry, go ahead. No, not for signing into the interlocal agreement. We are working on quotes and for the installation of those cameras with the said vendor that is under this interlocal purchase agreement. Once we have all that information together, I believe Crystal and I were going to come back to the board for a secondary approval of the actual cost of money that would be associated with this. So this more or less just gives us another purchasing agreement to use for purchasing any of the technology related to Verkada.
I have one more question, if I may.
Yep, please go ahead.
Madam Chair. So I am curious about the decision to move forward with Verkada. What was it that they offered that others didn't offer that made this a good choice?
That's kind of a longer question or answer, I should say. So we have done some research for air quality monitoring at our Skagit station because we've had in our public restrooms issues where people are either vaping or smoking things that they shouldn't be smoking at all. So I set out to research a product or a solution that would give us something that could detect vape smoking. It was determined at that time that Verkada had a solution for this, that they install air sensors. We can get a speaker that can do audible announcements, and it fit the needs for our security department, who is struggling to make sure people aren't smoking in our bathrooms. When I was talking with Verkada, they mentioned that they do cameras, they do door control access, and a whole other slew of products that all integrate in together. So they were proposing that when we install these air sensors, that we also install a camera. And then they demonstrated how we can see a trigger from these air sensors, correlate that to camera data, and actually make profiles for people so that we can get alerts when repeat offenders are coming in. So in that whole strategic mindset, I saw that Verkada really stands out as a product that can slowly eventually replace our entire camera system with a better solution that is more manageable. It offsets storage costs for our data cameras, maintains our retention policies and all that stuff. So in the end, it's kind of a decision to move with Verkada simply because of all of the integration with all the different products that they have. The primary focus was the air sensors, and now we've shifted it. Now that we see, NMA2 had some issues where we didn't have camera coverage, so we're just wrapping that into our strategic plan moving forward.
And forgive me, that triggered one more question for me, if I may.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious what you said. You mentioned the cameras. How do you get away with that with the privacy issue?
The camera is actually not in the bathroom. It is outside in our lobby. We already have an existing camera there, and it is used today for tracking activity inside our lobby. But it happens to be posted just outside the bathrooms so that you could see people going in and out of the bathroom, not so much in the bathroom. Yeah, we never are going to put a camera inside a bathroom. That is a direct violation of privacy.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia, for asking, because it did sound initially like
It's a good question. When I start talking cameras and bathrooms, people, it's not the first one to ask that question.
Okay.
This is Peter, and I'm just wondering, first of all, so what if the sensors go off? Do you have some plan for what you're gonna do with people in the bathroom? Sensor goes off, or is it just for information? And then secondarily, I just want to verify, just all you're asking us today is for permission to move forward, get a bid or get a cost that come back to us with. We're not committing anything more than just saying, yes, go do the right?
A lot of that was kind of muddied. I think the first question, what was the first question again?
Well, what do you plan to do if people are in there smoking? You can't see them.
Yeah, with the Verkada system, we can set up different alerts. So the idea was our security department wanted an audible tone that, whether it be recorded voice or just a tone, that would alert people, hey, there's something going on in the bathroom, exit the bathroom. We can have email alerts, text alerts, so we can start taking that and using that as a log to correlate if we're having a larger issue with smoking in our bathrooms. But more or less, it's our security team is alerted. They can go deal with the situation knowing what might be going on in the bathroom and do it safely.
Why are you wasting so much money? Somebody's gonna vape in the bathroom.
Can the staff please mute people that are not on the board? Thank you.
There we go. And what was did that answer the first question?
So is this a single source, or are these the only people that have this technology?
I still didn't get that.
It-
You're asking.
You're asking to enter into an interlocal with one company. Are they the only ones who produce this technology?
The interlocal agreement is to get on towards a vendor that is recommended by Verkada. In the past, I've used like the lowest bidder for installation, and that has not turned out well. And sometimes it does turn out okay. But moving forward, I wanted to use a vendor that was recommended by the manufacturer. And since I was going through a procurement process, I wanted to make sure it was under state contract, already pre-negotiated. So I didn't have to go through multiple bids. But if that is the direction we want to head, then we can.
Right, other questions, and just, it's super hard to hear people that are in the room there, so apologize.
Yeah, I think the mics in the room aren't being directed to the Zoom, so I think it's being broadcast through the room and then being picked up on one of the podium mics or something. So this is an unintended consequence.
This is Jackie. I'll take my, oh no, I can't, I'm not on this. Well, for the staff in the room, before we go any further with video acquisitions and upgrades, I would like to have a chance to refer to the video policy. What happens about this request for those? You just need to refresh on that. And then there is a second piece that I would, in the information, I think that is distributed in our packets. There's in the second paragraph that says resulting in cost savings in collective bargaining. I don't believe that's correct use of the term collective bargaining. I want to send those in business because that's a legal negotiating power. So I would suggest that we just this result in cost savings for us. Collective bargaining confuses the fish.
Excuse me, Lisa, I'm so sorry. I can't hear anything that's said in the room. Is there any solution to having folks that are in the room be at a mic that feeds into Zoom? Because
I'm almost guessing if you talk into the podium mic, that might help.
we try that. Sorry, everyone.
So the podium mic was left on, so it was picking up all of it. I did turn it off to see if
This is
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Nick.
on that one.
oh. You can't hear from the podium.
It's still the same. It's just echoing. Can anyone talk to wherever Nick was talking into? That worked.
Oh, I bet it's local on the computer.
Oh, can maybe you switch the mic input in Zoom? I love technology.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's
That's
much better.
better.
Okay, so the two comments that I made were in regard to as a follow-up. I don't think that Councilmember Aslet's question of whether or not this constitutes a sole source contract or sole source procurement process was clearly answered. So that's kind of still a question that perhaps is needs just a legal answer. Correct.
Okay.
So that's a to-do. I asked before the purchase part of this contract is brought forward that we answer that sole source question and that we answer the video. I think the board should review the transit's policy on video retention and, our basically what's the public disclosure requirements and and how long do we retain things for people to ask for them. And it should say something about those cameras aren't in the bathroom. So the policy, and then the third piece, just to reiterate, is the language that's in our packet. It's in the second paragraph, and it refers to cost savings through collective bargaining. And I don't think that's an appropriate use of the term collective bargaining. I would like to strike the term through collective bargaining. It just says it results in cost savings or something, but
Okay.
I don't want to point to a labor issue that isn't there.
That's my bad. I misused some wording there in collective bargaining and in negotiating pricing. So we can strike that.
So thank you, Lisa. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. So the one is there's a sole source question. So thank you, Councilmember Aslett. Sorry, we didn't hear that. The review of the video retention policies and how that's executed. And then even just amending a memo that's obtained for the record for this meeting about using that collective bargaining term. Does that capture everything? Okay.
Yeah. And we'll work on the sole source justification for Verkada on the camera system. And state why we want to use that solution. They were kind of the only one that I found that had appropriate air sensors for what we were trying to do. That also had the ability to put audio tones into that system. We can work on that. And then the policy for video retention, we can work on that and get that to the board. Just so you know, everything we have is recorded for 30 days. We record all frames and maintain them for 30 days. When an event happens, we pull that video through an approval process or a request process internally. And that gets stored in what we call our event tracker and is stored for up to 7 years. So I can define that all into a policy, and then we can get that to the board to make sure that we're all on the same page.
I think that sounds like some good direction. So what I hear at this point is that we would like to table this discussion item until the next meeting, taking action after we've received the things that the board's asked for.
Perfect.
So do I have a motion to table item 6B for today?
This is Mayor Johnson. I'll make that motion.
This is Bill Aslett. I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. We heard you. Okay, so there's a motion by Julia, a second by Bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, before we move on, there was a request to add another action item, and Crystal needs to correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a grants community, grant funded outreach position. And so I will turn this over to Crystal to explain this and then ask the board if they would like to add it for action today.
Good morning from Pullman, everyone. So we received $134,577 to fund a community engagement coordinator position for 2023. It's a 2-year grant, and because it's only a 2-year grant, we're going to post it as, if approved, as a temporary limited position. The purpose of that position is to kind of bridge the gap between staff or Skagit and our Hispanic population. We're hoping for a bilingual individual. We anticipate the cost of the position to be approximately $197,000, and again, $134,577 of that is grant funded. So I'm asking if we could please move that to an action item.
Sorry about that. I'm sharing with the group online the memo, just if you wanted to take a look at this. It's basically what Crystal just said. Any questions about this, or is everyone okay with we add this to the agenda today?
You need a motion to add it to the agenda.
I believe so, yes.
Then I so move.
Thank you.
This is Bill. I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Lisa and a second by Bill to add this as an agenda item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Crystal, is there anything else you wanted to add about this, or if there are questions from the board, please?
I just wanted to add, this grant was approved or applied for prior to my arrival here, but I do support this grant, and I'm asking that staff approve the 2-year limited term position for approximately $197,000. Again, $134,577 is grant funded.
I make a motion to approve the recommendation to add the grant funded temporary position as outlined by our director.
Thank you.
This is Mayor Julia. I'll second that.
Thank you so much. So there's a motion by Lisa, second by Julia. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, board, for adding that today. All right, moving on to our informational items. Item 7A is the financial impact of the security contracts. So I'm going to turn that over to Crystal.
Okay, so we had a special board meeting on May 31st to approve the security contract, and the board asked a few questions that I wasn't prepared for. I know that we put this contract in place rather quickly, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have been prepared. So I want to apologize to the board for that, and I'll make sure that I'm better prepared in the future. One of the questions that was asked was how much money was remaining from the previous security contract. The board approved $300,000 for the KECA contract during the April board meeting, and approximately $100,000 of that was for amounts that we had inadvertently exceeded for the original contract, leaving a balance of approximately $200,000. As you recall, the intent was to go month to month with KECA until we could get another security contractor in place. KECA, however, was not amenable to a month-to-month contract, and we were forced to find a replacement, which we did off the state contract. Through May, they went month to month. They gave us one extra month, which cost us approximately just over $28,000, which left a remaining balance of approximately $171,000. Is there any questions about that?
Any questions for Crystal on that? Okay, I might, Crystal, I might have you just reach out or send a quick note to the board members that aren't here if they wanted to contact you and have questions about that topic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, there's no questions about that. So the other question that was asked during the special board meeting was the financial impact of the Allied contract for the remainder of the year. Allied did take over MOA2 on June 1st and Skagit Station for about a week later, which meant the financial impact of this contract for this year is about $220,000.
Any questions? Any questions for Crystal on that? Okay.
Okay, just to provide a quick, thank you. My nose is running, I apologize. It's cold in here. A quick MOA2 update. There has been a crew on site and working since May 30th. While they have only been back on site for a few weeks, they are making progress and have indicated that they are still on schedule to complete phase 1 by April of 24. They advised that the windows were ordered at the end of May. We are also in the process of getting an RFQ put together for the redesign that will include incorporating infrastructure for zero emission buses and staff vehicles.
Any questions about MOA2 update? Okay. Item 7C, Federal Transportation Administration Drug and Alcohol Audit.
Representatives from the Federal Transportation Administration will be on site July 11th and 12th to conduct an audit of our drug and alcohol compliance. We did submit documents by May and June 13th as requested, and we should get their final review in mid-October.
Okay. From what I've heard from Crystal, it's quite an involved audit. So thank you for staff for being ready for that.
Yes, they asked for quite a bit of information, and I want to give kudos to Jen and Abby. They did a fantastic job of pulling all of that together.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right, 7D is WashDOT grants.
Okay, we already talked about the community engagement coordinator, so I'll move on to number 2. The Northwest Washington Regional Public Transportation Study. We received a grant of $160,000 to conduct a regional public transportation study. This grant will allow our contractor conduct a study for operational efficiency and performance of our commuter routes, which include the 40X serving Mount Vernon to Anacortes, 70X, which serves Mount Vernon to Concrete, 80X, which serves Mount Vernon to Bellingham, 90X, which serves Burlington to Everett. Our match is $40,000. Of that $40,000, two of our transit partners, Island Transit and WTA, have committed to fund $10,000 each, leaving a remaining match for us of $20,000. Since we are already conducting a study of 4 of our routes, I would like to expand the study to have a comprehensive operational analysis conducted for the rest of our system at the same time. We are currently working to identify a funding source, and we'll bring this to the board as an action item once we are prepared to. So we're also waiting for the contractor to get back to us on a quote for that.
Crystal, do we have a scope of work then from the contractor that you can share with the board, or is that what you're working on to expand the study from what we're already doing?
We're working on a scope. We will provide that to the contractor, and once they've reviewed it, they'll come back with the cost for us.
Any questions from the board on this? I think we'd all like to see the scope, of course, prior to decision making on it, but any other questions from the board? Okay. Does anyone historically know the last time we took a comprehensive look at this? I'm just curious.
The last time we did a comprehensive operations analysis was in 2008. And I believe that was in conjunction with the last sales tax increase.
A good time to take a look then. Thank you. All right.
I agree.
WashDOT grants for the increased frequency of transit service route 615.
We received $605,272 to increase frequency on routes 513 and 16. And as you recall, we advised the board that we expected to receive this funding at the last board meeting when we asked the board to approve for 4 more driver positions. So we're happy to report that we did receive this funding.
Okay. Any questions about that from the board? Okay. Increased frequency of transit services on 717. Did you just say that's the same thing? Wait. No, that's one's west, one's east. Sorry. Okay.
Yep. And so we received $609,120 to continue existing service in concrete.
Okay. It's money funding what we are already doing. Any questions on that from the board? All right. Paratransit special needs grant.
Happy to report that we received just over $2.2 million in paratransit and special needs grants.
Can you give an idea of what that is used for? Just curious.
So I'm going to have to ask Brad for help on this. I know that we budgeted 1.2. Brad, can you provide some additional information on this?
Yes, we can use this money in a variety of ways to cover both operating and capital costs. We can use it for such things like ADA upgrades at bus stops. We can use it to cover operating costs for our paratransit service, covering the cost of vehicles for our paratransit service, and similar associated items. It's a very useful pool of money. And we were very happy that we got basically an additional $1 million out of this state appropriation this year.
So if I hear you correctly, it's basically operations for a paratransit service that been flexible.
Yes.
It's flexible, but I think that's what we use most, what we have budgeted most of it for was operational expenses.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Questions from the board? Good news. Okay. 5 fixed route bus replacements.
We received just over $2.6 million for fixed bus replacement. This requires a match of $665,000, which we have already secured from another grant, actually the paratransit special needs grants. We're able to use that money for other things. So we've already designated $665,000 of the additional paratransit special needs grants for our match for the fixed route bus replacement. And we will bring this to the board as an action item once we are prepared to order the buses.
Questions for staff on this grant? Okay. Moving on then on our information item 7E is the CIC field trip on Route 101 on July 17. Not sure who was going to take this. Is it
I'll
Brad?
take this.
Brad? Okay. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. So our Community Advisory Committee is going to take a field trip on July 17th on the new Route 101, and we'd like to invite our board members to attend. We're going to start in Chuckanut and ride around to the Burlington Senior Center. And then we're going to take a break at the Burlington Senior Center, have lunch there. We're going to have our July meeting, and we're going to go over the transit development plan so we can get feedback on that, on our annual update of that plan from the CAC. And then the CAC members will, an hour later, join the next run of the 101 and take it back to Chuckanut. So it should be a nice little time, chance to see a new route that we're operating in Burlington for those who may be free on that day.
Awesome. Any questions from the board about this? Okay. Item F is a 90-day review. I do not know what this is.
So this is just, I've been here just over 90 days.
Oh,
and
Crystal's
my 90-day review. So yeah, I just wanted to share with the board that after I started here, I did conduct or I drafted rather a 30, 60, 90 and 1 year action plan for myself, my team, and my organization. So I went back and took a look at my action plan, and I feel like myself and my team, because this was definitely a joint effort, that we've been really successful in making some of the positive changes within the organization that we set out to accomplish. To include, we had an all-day strategic planning and leadership retreat on May 31st with the executive team. Together, we did an organizational SWOT analysis. We created organizational SMART goals, which we took from department head. I asked them to create SMART goals for their department. So we took those and collectively created organizational SMART goals. And we also used that time to develop our TDP, our transit development plan. And I just want to report that the level of collaboration and engagement was really exciting. So exciting that the team actually asked to start having these meetings quarterly, which we're planning on doing. That being said, we would also like to have a board retreat in the near future to share some of our exciting goals and objectives. And I will have staff send out a survey soon to find out what the board's availability is.
Okay. Any questions for Crystal on that? I'd invite the board members at any time to get Crystal a call. Matt Miller and I have been trying to meet weekly. Sometimes we have to skip, just checking in and being supportive of Crystal and what she's doing. So engage with her at any time. I'm sure she'd love to share what's going on.
Mayor Boudreaux, may I say that now that I've kind of settled in a little bit, I would actually like to start meeting regularly with the board because I want to find out what they want for their constituents in terms of transportation for their community. So I would like to I will start reaching out and would like to meet with the board for that.
Wonderful. I think everyone would welcome that. Okay. Item 8, did I get 8 right? Getting these numbers mixed up, sorry. Item G is our CAC meeting minutes, which are attached to your packet on page 10. I'll ask Judy if she's got anything she'd like to add to those meeting minutes. Judy.
Basically, Brad did a good job. Of course, he would do a good job of talking about our ride that we're going to be experiencing, the 101, July 17th. So we did basically vote to substitute that date for our second Tuesday meeting date that we usually have. And there wasn't a whole lot. We had a lot of discussion, so that took up a lot of the meeting time, on some other things. We're still looking at bus shelter styles. That's one of the things that we're going to be discussing a little more next meeting. And also, we have ridership gains. Brad reported on that. It looks very, very good. We were glad. It was wonderful having Crystal at our last meeting. She gave some really good input for us and participated. And board members, of course, are always welcome at our meetings. And that's pretty much all I have to report other than what you have in your packets.
All right. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
All right, item H is our ridership report, and I think something got sent out, a little more updated information, but I will turn it over to Brad.
Yes, just one highlight here for the month of May. I'd like to point out our youth ridership number that cracked the 5,200 level. It's been a really great implementation for our youth ride fare free program. Prior to July 1st of last year, our monthly youth ridership was anywhere from 600 to 800, depending on that given month. So to see us here at just about a year later at 5,200 shows that there's been some strong growth and that the youth are responding by riding more. So it's really good. And we had a great month compared to May of last year with 27% growth over May of 2022. So it's really a good month for us.
Great. Any questions for Brad on that? All right, thank you for providing that information, also the additional stuff. So, all right, that completes our agenda items for today. So with that, we'll be adjourned at 11:43. Thank you for those who filled in for board members, and we'll see you next month.